Deb Brody also wanted to bear witness regarding Tyre Nichols, and I want to give a shout out to Deb because when I told her that she'd be following a black police officer, she said, "I'm not sure what I'm going to say is going to be appropriate. Is it okay if I talk to Otis about it and have him read it?" And I said, "Of course." And she talked to Otis, and he read it, and he said, "Of course." And he said, "Of course," not because I think he would have written what you wrote, but because he said we need to have these difficult conversations. And again, that's part of the reason we're out here every week. So please welcome back to bear her witness, Deb Brody. Sorry?
Everything's great.
Oh, okay, yeah. Come on up here.
I'll hold it, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rick. And thank you, Otis, also. I think I do want to start with thank you. I want to thank everybody who is here, who've been here bearing witness so faithfully for not just weeks, not just months, years. I've been away for a long time, and I'm very happy to be back here. And I just want to thank you because, how do I say it? We're still here. We're still here. Justice is still here in our hearts, and we're bearing witness to it. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you also to this beautiful earth that holds us up, this sky that covers us, the sun that shines, and the rain that gives life to everything on earth. Thank you to every living thing that shares this world with us, to all of the people and communities upon whose labor and lives, our own lives, depend. I say thank you to all of these. And now I will share with you some thoughts. I don't know how to speak to or speak of Tyre Nichols. Yet another beautiful life taken from his family and friends, taken from all who knew and loved him, taken from this world in which he was a precious light. He loved photography. He loved to skateboard. He has a young son who now will not know his father anymore. He was just trying to get home to his mother, to refuge. I'm not okay. None of us is okay. 2 days ago, I received an email from the group Indivisibles, and I imagine many of the folks here are also on their mailing list. So you all may have received this also. It was sent out by a person named Bear Billinger, who is a member of the Indivisible Black Staff Caucus. So although this may be something you've already read, and it has been spoken to here today among us, if I may, I would like to borrow this microphone to share and lift up Bear Billinger's message from the Indivisible Black Staff Caucus. He wrote, "In the coming days, we're going to hear a lot about how the officers were all black and the ways in which that complicates the narrative. What we know is that white supremacist structures harm black people in a multitude of ways. One of those ways is through the extrajudicial murder of black bodies. Another is through the assimilation of black people into the system to shield it against charges of racism while continuing to carry out the oppression on those same individuals. Racism is a structure, not simply an act. Regardless of the fact that his murder took place at the hands of black men, the fault lies at the hands of white supremacy. In a clear example of that duality, which has been alluded to here in our group. These black officers have been fired and charged with second-degree murder less than 3 weeks following Tyre's January 7 traffic stop, while we've seen white officers continue for months, years, even their entire lives after an incident like this. Even as they are white supremacy's vessels for racist violence, they become victims of its reach. There is no complication of this conversation as long as we stay true to the knowledge that policing in this country is a tool of anti-blackness. Regardless of the race of the cop, they are a part of that system and therefore enacting its goals. We ask a few things in the next couple of days. Do not share the video. As black people, we have been inundated, traumatized, and re-traumatized by videos of our people being murdered. Sharing the video is sensationalizing violence while minimizing the pain that it imparts to black bodies. Share solutions, share actions, share outrage. Do not share the video. Don't get caught up in the discourse that says, but they were black too. This conversation ignores the larger power structure that leads to anti-black violence. And it does that in order to individualize the actions and therefore insulate the system from critique. These officers were a part of a new Scorpion unit meant to tackle quote-unquote violent crime in the city of Memphis. We now, once again, clearly see the results of that sort of policing. Quote-unquote violent crime framing criminalizes black and brown people before any evidence of a crime exists. When we empower a bolder, stronger police presence, we encourage the militarization of black and brown communities, which leads to our deaths. The black men involved are a symptom, not the cause. We must focus on the cause. So this same email also advises that the public reaction, the community reaction, may become another flashpoint. And they are asking that non-blacks especially, like me, should think deeply about the event and its reactions and how these are framed in our minds, and how is the best way to address what happened. Lastly, the email closes by saying there is actual work to be done here towards black freedom, towards black joy, towards accountability for white supremacy's toll on black bodies. Lean into that work. And I know it's cold and I'm also shivering, but I beg your indulgence to allow me to conclude with thoughts of my own. I've been feeling this very deeply. We live in a world that is steeped in violence. From the climate catastrophe to poverty to dispossession to enslavement, whether it's in cobalt mines or chocolate factories or sweatshops or prisons, all the way to the wars that are the cat's paws for capital's colonization of land, minerals, and people. We live in a world steeped in violence. Crime, the intimate, petty crime that police forces are built to apprehend, subdue, and punish, is only the mirror. Okay. So, crime, the intimate, petty crime that police forces are built to apprehend, subdue, and punish, is only the mirror manifesting to us the violence inherent in the systems of extraction and assimilation that rule all of us. The immediate costs of these systems are externalized selectively onto the bodies of the non-white, the poor, the lands of the imperial margins, the sick, the old, the disabled, and yes, also the young. Only the owners of the system can escape falling into one or another of these categories at some point in their lives. No one is free until all of us are free. The institutions of policing and incarceration can never stop crime. First and foremost, they never even touch the architects and perpetrators of crimes whose victims number in the millions. Instead, police forces are deployed to uphold and protect these criminals' liberty and power to wage desolation with impunity. And at the intimate community level, we have seen time and again, despite body cameras, despite training, despite reforms, despite whatever, that the institutions of policing and incarceration end up creating their own crimes in the daily brutalities, in lives that are languished and families broken by incarceration, in money stolen from libraries, parks, public transport, school lunch programs, and more, to instead pour into disciplining the downtrodden by endless enhancement of police forces. Violence cannot drive out violence. Only strong communities can do that. Communities joined together in shared struggle for liberation and self-determination. I look at our Southbury. We have a food bank. We have a community garden. We have a needy fund. We have an affordable housing alliance. We have a community relations task force. And also Justice Southbury's work here on this corner every week, and also in our schools and our community. And so many more, our churches and faith communities as well. All of these give me courage to dream of a network of connection and support and mediation that can beat the swords of our carceral state into the plowshares of joined commitment in each other's peace and well-being. So let me end as I began, in thanks to everyone here for your faithful witness and for the sharing of love and support through these times that we live in. God bless you.